Okay, still John from Toronto here, finishing up chapter 8 and then going on to chapter 9. So Sherry had just said, because I'm a hockey player, not a puck bunny. Aw, come on, Wong. Why don't you want to be friends? I've seen you on YouTube, the way you celebrate every goal you get doing that dorky dance. Maybe your followers think you're adorable, but I don't. She marched ahead, crushing to dust the small stones on the path, and it just made Matt like her all the more. Hold it, he said. Hockey's not just a sport. He caught up to her again. Show business is part of it. Yeah, the bad part. They both stopped and looked right at one another. Matt loved how the sun-shielding leaves played dancing shadows on her face. What's with the big chip on your shoulder? Why don't you become a girl? Then go play on an all-boys team and try to get taken seriously. He thought for a moment before nodding. Okay. So some of the guys you played with gave you a rough ride, and you think I'm like the rest of them? Gee, you're not so dumb after all. Sherry, don't we have any chance of being friends? Keep begging. Matt caught a hint of a smile on her face. She walked ahead of him and added, I'll think it over. Okay, so chapter 9, and this is Bobby. Sunlight poured through the dining hall windows. Bobby couldn't remember the place, looking and feeling so empty as he surveyed the nearest of the long tables covered with trays of tuna and egg salad sandwiches, platters of fresh-cut broccoli, carrots, cucumbers, and yogurt dip. Lemonade and water jugs stood in place at hand's reach. Sarah always put together a wholesome spread, but the many empty tables beyond reminded him of what he'd rather forget. The 14 campers stood by their chairs, making small talk, and waited. Time was, twice as many kids made up a small group. At least the younger ones looked frightened enough, being far from home for the first time. They wouldn't cause much trouble. Bobby glanced at the hardwood floor that had seen finer days. Then he turned his head up and clapped his hands 3 times. Oops, lost my place. Hold on. Okay. Everyone stopped talking at once. A good sign to start things off. I won't talk too long, he said. I bet you're all hungry after the long trip up. You already met me and Sterling. Behind the pantry counter, we got Mrs. Banks and our daughter Rosalind. They take care of all the cooking and most of the office work. Make sure you're good to them, or else. Hi, kids, said Sarah with a wave of her hand and a winning smile. Beside them are your counselors, Kevin and Kyle. And yeah, they're twins, in case you're wondering. We weren't, someone yapped. A group of younger boys giggled. Bobby's eyes searched for the bad apple. Yep, it was the wise guy who'd taken a shot at him earlier. He grimaced at the boy and then went back to business. Kyle takes care of the 10 to 12-year-olds, and Kevin is in charge of the 13 to 16-year-olds. Bobby glanced behind him and gave the twins a friendly nod, feeling bad over having chopped their salaries in half from last year. They were good enough guys to understand the situation and stay on, and they didn't look too shabby in their year-old faded staff t-shirts. He was grateful for their loyalty and for their tall, broad-shouldered, crew-cut good looks. Even the older kids wouldn't dare mess with them. It would be tough, if not impossible, if he had to replace them next summer, if there was a next summer. He gave them a thumbs up and turned around again to face the campers. One of the kids raised his arm, the same character as before. Yeah, Bobby seethed. I still don't get this no cell phone rule. Feels like we're in jail or something. Don't go making a mountain out of a molehill. Your parents all sold into my program, even if you haven't. You need to make a phone call, ask at my cottage. We got one there you can use, if it's important. Yeah, but no buts either. You're here to improve your hockey skills without distractions. There'll be some fun too. Still, you got to learn to focus on the main reasons you're here. You'll be learning discipline and how to get along with people. These are the big life lessons you get at my camp. That shut the kid up. Bobby swallowed before finishing. Kevin and Kyle will go Kevin and Kyle will go over all the rules with you after lunch. And remember this, I don't stand for no nonsense. He waited a moment to let his last sentence sink in. Okay, start eating, kids. It always lifted his mood, watching the youngsters sitting and diving into the food and getting to know each other better. It was like taking in a fantastic sunrise, full of promise. Bobby couldn't help but smile. His own childhood had not been nearly so happy. Born and raised as an only child in a small town south of Saskatoon, Dad died of cancer before Bobby turned 2. Memories of Mum were shadowy at best. She worked at a department store in the city and provided for his needs. At home, she was addicted to the TV and her cigarettes. He couldn't ever remember her laughing. Brutal cold winters. Early on, Bobby began playing hockey with the other kids in the neighborhood, mainly to escape his smoke-filled house. Soon, his love for the game took hold. By the time he turned 14, Bobby was already in organized hockey and traveled throughout Western Canada on long bus rides with his teammates. He was a big kid even then. But no matter how hard he worked at it, he could never skate as fast as the other players. So he made up for it by being tough. Boys on the other teams began to fear him. He liked that. During one of those road trips, when 16-year-old Bobby heard the news about his mother, he was sure the cigarettes had caused her fatal heart attack. When he tried to remember their good times together, or their bad times, nothing came to mind. Their relationship had been like a big fog that never lifted. Bobby never really knew her, and he didn't feel all that sad about her being gone. Just numb. And I think that will do it for this time. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Thank you.